Hello, I'm Michael Webster, Artistic Director of the Houston Youth Symphony, which just finished its 75th anniversary season with an exciting performance of George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue with John Kimura Parker as soloist and the Symphony Orchestra playing Mahler's First Symphony. Now that the season is over, I thought I would review the stretching exercises that the orchestra and I have been doing together as we start our rehearsal breaks each week. The most important thing, I think, is to remember to keep your head over your shoulders. Take a look at the posture of 4-year-old children and of gymnasts and dancers, and you will see that they keep their heads over their shoulders. Our sedentary lifestyles and this thing called a cell phone tend to keep us in forward head posture, which is like this, as you maybe walk along looking at your cell phone. And we can work against that by holding our hands higher, holding our head higher, and if you need to look at your cell phone, just looking down a little bit, but keeping the sternum raised. This is true for also playing in the orchestra. As you look at your music, be sure not to lean forward, be sure to keep your sternum raised, and use your eyes to look down at the music. When you do stretches, make sure that they stay very comfortable and don't ever approach any kind of discomfort. Be sure that you don't create discomfort or even pain at a joint. For example, I don't ever want to bend my wrist so far in this direction that it hurts, or this direction that it hurts. Don't tolerate pain at a joint. On the other hand, when you're lifting your arms in the air, you will get tired, and that is good. If you experience muscle fatigue, that will help you improve your posture over the years. So let's start with the first one that we always do in HYS, and that is the arm swings. You lift your hands up to about eye level, and then you let them drop. Gravity pulls them down, not your muscles. And they will bounce at the bottom and come back up. So relax and drop, back up, relax and drop. These arm swings are very beneficial for circulation from the spine into the hands, and you can do it for several minutes if you like, or just do a few to get you started in your stretching routine. After doing that, if I had to choose one exercise that I think is best for raising the sternum and keeping your posture well, it's this. Clasp your hands, place them behind your head. Pull your elbows together. Keep your shoulders down and keep your shoulder blades separated. So it feels like I'm pulling my elbows pulling my elbows forward. Then I start gradually lifting the elbows and I'm pushing my head back into my hands and resisting with my hands. And as the elbows come closer and closer together and higher, I start working. I feel working across the shoulders. And I hold this posture for as long as it feels comfortable. I want to work a little bit. So I'm standing here, I'm going to breathe deeply and hold it for a few seconds, as long as you feel it's comfortable for you, doing a little bit of work, and then relax again and let your arms swing. The next shoulder exercise is imagining that you're going to push a button. I'm going to hold my right hand out to the right, look slightly to the left, and now there's a button there. I'm on an elevator. And I push the button with my index finger, so I'm pulling my shoulder out. This is also separating the shoulder blades, which is a good thing. Then I imagine I'm pushing the button with my middle finger. And then I imagine I'm pushing it with my ring finger, and then the pinky. Now I'm on the other side of the elevator, and I'm reaching out to push the button. I'm looking to the other direction, pushing with the index finger for a few seconds. Then the middle finger, breathing deeply and slowly. Then the ring finger, and then the pinky finger. And it always feels good to swing the arms a little bit between each one of these exercises. Here's one for the forearms, or for the upper arms. It's similar to the first one, but a little bit different. We raise our arms to where our forearms are parallel with the ground. We lift our wrists up, and then we pull our hands out, but not to the point where it hurts. We don't want to hurt the wrists. Now, to work, we pull the elbows in and lift and keep the shoulders down and shoulder blades separate, and then lift the elbows. Breathing deeply. Pulling out with the wrist, but never to where it hurts, and lifting a little bit more. The more you lift, the more work it will be. The more you pull your elbows in, the more work it will be. You'll feel it around your shoulders and upper arms, and then you can do some arm swings. Next we're going to do, I have to remind myself, oh yes, hands in prayer position. This is for the forearm. Hands in prayer position. Never to where the wrist hurts. Some people are very flexible and can go down to even a 90-degree angle, but I prefer to keep them like this. If this hurts, leave your wrists here. If that hurts, leave your wrists here. Find a comfortable position for your wrists. And then we're gently going to push one hand against the other. I'm pushing my right hand into my left so that my left elbow goes out. And then I feel this lovely warmth underneath my forearm. That's awakening up all of those nerves there. This is very safe. You will feel, it's hard to describe, but it feels like warmth. And then we go over to the other side and push the other way. I'm pushing with my left hand into my right hand, feeling the warmth, and then relaxing again. Next, we're going to work with the fingers a little bit. The hands are very strong in grasping things, but not very strong in separating the fingers. So we want to work with those muscles that separate the fingers. This is good for any of us who use our digits, whether we're a violinist or a clarinetist such as I am. Lifting the fingers is always more difficult than placing them down. So, in prayer position again. Now I'm going to start with my palms and my fingertips all together. They're slightly separated, but not dramatically so. And then, pushing this row of knuckles into this row of knuckles, I lift my bottoms of my palms apart, like that. And I breathe deeply. And I do that a few times. You can do it as many times as you want. Maybe 5, maybe 6. And this one is lovingly called Spider Doing Push-Ups on a Mirror. And after you do that a few times, you can keep your palms together, again keeping this row of knuckles and this row of knuckles together, and lifting the fingers apart. So the palms are completely together, and now the fingers lift away from each other. I hope you can see that. I'll put my hands here so they can see it. There you go. So lifting, separating, and together. Separate, together. I'm pulling my fingers back using a little bit of muscle effort, but I'm always keeping the stretch comfortable and never to the point where I feel any discomfort, much less any pain. Now we're going to do, what's next on my list? Oh yeah, the pinky pad. This is really important. So here's how we start. Put our hands in front of ourselves. And we cluster the fingers. I'll put this up close to the camera. We cluster the fingers like this around the thumb. And then we're going to pull the pinky pad and the thumb pad together. That's the action. I'm not working so much about, these just get me in the position. I'm not pushing my fingers together, but this pad and this pad together. And then I do that with both hands. I stand like this, like a dog begging, and then I allow my wrists to go down. Again, no pain over the upper wrist, but a nice little comfortable stretch. And then I do little semicircles into the center and up and down. All the while pushing the pinky pad and the thumb pad together. Strengthening the palm is really important, and we just don't do this in our normal everyday activities. And you can do that a few times. Then, to continue that motion, with one of your hands, pinky pad, palm together, pinky pad, thumb pad together, fingers down, and reaching with the other hand, I don't go over the wrist knuckle, this would be bad, but good is right here. And then I'm pulling with my thumb and my middle finger, pulling out. This is quite safe. You can pull, with some gusto, but again, never so much that it hurts. Just pull a little bit. Yeah. And keep your pinky pad and your thumb pad together and pulling back, but with no discomfort anywhere. And then we do the other side. Carpal tunnel injury is an important one for we musicians to avoid, and this will help you do that. And finally, we're going to do a couple of spinal exercises. The first one is a twisting motion to the left and right. So what I want to do is to remember to keep my hips, my pelvis facing forward. So I don't want to twist like this, not with the whole body, but pelvis faces forward. If I get back a little farther, maybe you can see that. Pelvis facing forward. And then I like to put my arms up over my head when I do this. And then I twist to the left, breathing slowly and deeply. Hold it for a couple of seconds, 3-4 seconds. Come back to the center, and then go 3 or 4 times to the same side. Remind your pelvis to face forward and not to go with your spine, because you want to twist the spine. And you notice that my arms are, I don't try to yank my arms all the way back. I keep them up and slightly ahead of my head. Okay, let me do one more to that side, and then to the other side, to the right. Doesn't matter which side you start with. I'm pulling up with my arms, but I don't have to get them way behind my head, keeping the elbows straight. One more time to the right. Keeping the pelvis, oops, my pelvis moved a little bit that time. To remind myself to keep the pelvis forward. And then one more. And then when your arms will get tired when you're holding them up like this, then you can always do a few arm swings to loosen them up. Arm swings are just one of my favorite things to do, not just when I'm conducting. In fact, one of my first conducting lessons was learning how to lift my arms and how to let gravity pull them down. If a conductor does this with the muscles, that kind of tension exudes itself to the orchestra and to the audience. So you have to learn how to lift and then relax and then catch yourself on the way down. So I'm now going to lean to each side. I will lean to the left, arms up again, elbows straight, shoulders separated, shoulders forward, and then leaning. I'm leaning to the left. You can feel the right side of your ribs stretch, but you also want to feel that your left side, the side that you're leaning toward, is stretching as well. So it's not just collapsing like this, it's pulling up with your arms and leaning to the side. And come back to the center. Meanwhile, breathing slowly and deeply. And then off to the other side. I find myself exhaling as I lean, or you could inhale, it doesn't matter, just go slowly. And then we're done. Now I don't know how long this took, I'll have to check later, but without all of the talking, it would be quicker. And you can just choose 5 or maximum 10 minutes of stretches that you want to do, and every 25 minutes of practicing, stretch for 5 minutes. That's what I recommend. And if you don't do stretching exercises, practice for 25 minutes and then get up and have a cup of tea or whatever. Walk around a little bit. You could even check your cell phone. But at any rate, that's it for now. I wish you all a wonderful summer, and I look forward to seeing the new crop of HYS students in the fall. Bye-bye.